Hey everyone, Scooby-Doo here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be doing the review on the Spin Master Hero BB8. He's located here to the right. And right next to him for size comparison is the Jakks Pacific electronic BB8, which is pretty cool. They actually, Jakks Pacific actually also makes one that doesn't have the electronic feature on it as well. They stand about 19 inches tall, so a little bit on the small side. And so to give you a little bit of reference to Spin Master and the different things that they make, I did a review on the interactive Yoda, I think almost about 2 years ago. And my opinion on that was it was really cool as far as an interactive toy, but as far as a collectible goes, and that's how I'm going to be doing my review, it wasn't that great, and it wasn't well received, I don't think, by the Star Wars community. The sculpt, although was decent, it didn't have hair. The lightsaber was really cheap looking, same with his cane. And the interactive features, which was the saving grace for the Yoda, you could only do it when it was sitting on the floor. It didn't have any kind of displayed mode, which I've actually talked about before, because if you're a collector, you kind of like to display your items, and if they are interactive, at times it is cool to turn it on and have it displayed that way. And the Yoda did not do that. Now, I have since modified it, and again, I'll leave some links down below to my review of the Yoda. I actually have a few of them after I did the modifications to them. So my review today, again, is going to be on the collectability of this BB-8, and not so much as a toy. As a toy, I'll just say really quickly, it's very, very cool. But with toys, they're for kids, and even if a toy is lacking, a child's imagination will sometimes help that toy out to where it's good enough to buy. And this one was definitely good enough to purchase. I don't think at their starting retail price at $229 for that. I think a kid would rather have a brand new Xbox or a PlayStation. And especially now, and we'll go ahead and talk about the price right now. $229 I think was the suggested retail price on this BB-8, and now you can get them for under $100. And that was the same thing with the Yoda, high price point, and then I saw them like 6 or 7 months later going for around $40. Like a third of the price or even a quarter of the price. So that right there is a good indication that maybe it's not too much of a collectible. If you know, I collect Hot Toys figures and life-size figures and Star Wars FX lightsabers and different things, and most of all those things go up in price, or at least stay about the same in price. Spin Master, their stuff just goes down, 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 and that's a pretty good indication that it's not that good as a collectible. So on to the actual figure. It has 3 modes. In the box you get a remote control, which is like this. You get 1 power adapter for the body, which looks like this. And then you have a separate USB charger for the top part. So 2 separate things need to be charged, and they give you a USB cord for the charging, but they don't actually give you the adapter part. I'm not sure why they didn't include that, but it's not that big a deal. It's a basic charger adapter. It's the same one you probably use for your Android phone, and they're really inexpensive to pick up on eBay. Also too, it did not come with any kind of stand. Now I have him on a styrofoam, kind of like a circle thing that I purchased at the 99-cent store that helps him kind of stay in place. Now he will kind of stay in place without the stand, but lots of times he'll kind of like drop over or kind of like roll over a little bit. So that would have been nice if they would have included a stand, or better yet, a charging dock would have been awesome, especially at the retail price of $229. So that's kind of a bummer that you have to use 2 separate charge cords and you got to wait for it to charge. And I don't know, I think it could run for maybe 20 to 30 minutes depending on which mode you have it on. As far as the detail of the figure goes, it's actually pretty nice. The lighting on it's good. I'm not going to light him up because he'll just roll off the counter because there is no display mode for him. And I plan on doing some weathering and some painting on him to make him look better. So I'd say as far as his looks go, they're decent. Now onto the actual modes. You get a RC mode, which is actually kind of cool. I don't know where you're going to run him on an RC mode unless you have a really big house. Maybe you could take him to a basketball gym or something. Could maybe take him out onto the front yard area, grass if it's cut really short, but I really wouldn't take him outside or on the sidewalk and stuff because he is still plastic and he will probably scratch up. So the RC mode, although cool that they added it, it's not really practical. The second mode, which you also use the controller for, which is the follow me mode, you actually clip this onto your belt or just hold it in your hand and it'll actually follow you around your house. Again, kind of cool, but not very practical. You'd have to walk very, very slow. And then if you turned any corners or went into any other rooms, he'll most likely kind of turn as you turn, and since he's further behind, he'll just bounce into a wall. So both the RC and the follow me modes, impractical. I guess I'm glad that they added them, but again, I don't really see you using them. Now as a kid, if you had them, you know, you're going to play with them. Heck, you could probably play with them not even turned on. But now the third mode, which is the best mode to have them in, which is just the voice activation mode. That's where you can actually just turn him on and set him on the floor and he'll just kind of wander around on his own. He will respond to certain voice commands. If you say Kylo Ren or Poe, he'll act in certain ways and then he'll randomly just kind of squawk and make noise. He'll roll around the room. One little quick story with that, and this is the only reason why I would recommend buying him for a collectible and adding to your Star Wars collection. I actually had him on in the Empire room, and if you're familiar with it, you know I had that life-size Darth Vader. For some reason I still had him on. I was sitting on the couch, I was listening to some Star Wars music, and he was just kind of rolling around, and he actually rolled up to the Darth Vader and actually looked at him. It was kind of weird. I know it was completely random, but he kind of looked up at him, and then I made I said a statement to BB8. I said, hey BB8, you shouldn't hang around Vader. I don't think he'd like you very much. And one of his features is if you say his name and he's looking one way, he'll actually turn around and look at you. So that's what he did. He looked at me and then he rolled away from Vader and he kind of sat next to me while I was on the sofa, and I told him, hey, you know, you can go ahead and wander around the house, just stay away from Vader. And he actually did. Now again, that was all random, but it was still kind of cool. And for that reason alone, I would say go ahead and purchase him. That and the fact that he is now under $100. Because the $229 price point, that was just way too high. So I would purchase him. He probably does have a bunch of hidden Easter eggs. I do know I told him to go to sleep, and he did go to sleep, and then I told him to wake up, and he woke back up. So I'm sure Spin Master did add a few things to him. So again, that's why I would purchase him. But for only the price point of under $100. So there you go. Spin Master does the Yoda, goes down to a quarter of the price. They do the BB8, it's down to half the price, and it'll probably go down a little bit more, and which is why I would consider it an epic fail, and I wish Spin Master would spend a little bit more time in developing their toys so they can become collectibles. Also, too, one note, when they came out with him, or when they're doing the marketing, they came out with a term that said lifelike size, which doesn't mean anything, and which was a really big red flag for me. Lifelike size, it's 19 inches. I think the life-size BB8 is like 28 inches or somewhere around in there. So it's not lifelike at all. It's just 19 inches. Just say it's 19 inches. I know when Target had their BB8s for the display modes, I mean, not for the display modes, for the Star Wars sale that they were having, those things went for a lot. I don't know if you worked at Target, if somebody got, I don't know if they had raffles or what happened. I heard somewhere where they said they were supposed to destroy them or something afterwards, but they did go on sale on eBay. They went anywhere between like $500 to $1,000. I wish Spin Master would take that kind of lead and say, hey, you know what? Let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's make it a little bit more interactive. We can raise the price point to like 300 or 400, and it's going to only go up in value. And that's what makes it a collectible, and that's what makes this thing worth purchasing, opposed to it going down in value. So my ultimate review as a toy, and you're a kid, you're going to love it. If you're a collector, now that it's under $100, I would go ahead and pick one up. You might wait even longer. Maybe they'll go down to like $70 or $60, and then they would really be a great buy. And definitely add him to the room. So I'm going to do another video on this guy once I weather him and get him all set up, and I'm going to build a custom display for him and then see if I can find room for him in the Empire room. But there he is. And the same thing with the Pacific Jacks. I'm actually going to repaint him and put him on a base, and I'll probably put him up for sale at some point. But he is pretty cool. It's almost more work just to get this than you don't have to worry about the other stuff. You just push a button and he's all ready to go. And this one you have to turn on a bunch of switches and do a bunch of things. But yeah, go ahead and pick them up. I would give it actually a review of a thumbs down or whatever, epic fail from Spin Master's point of view. But since it's becoming cheaper, go ahead and pick them up. So that's the end of my review. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. I do have a bunch of other stuff coming up. I'm going to show you really quickly. I'm going to grab this. I got this Black Series Stormtrooper helmet, which I have a bunch of them. And I got this decal kit. Turn him into a commander. How cool is that? So we'll be going over that in another video along with, 50 other things I got going on. So hope you guys are having a fantastic day and have a fantastic week. Talk to you later. Bye.